for today's late lunch show. And I've actually been trying to get this guy on for a while. We had a couple of things, but he's a man in demand, right? So we're really pleased to have Stephen on, and we'll get to Stephen in a minute, and he can introduce himself and tell you all about Enmis and everything else and the fantastic stuff that the guys are doing up there. But as always, first things first, we need to give a big shout out to Bull Mango Media. Andrew, give yourself a pat in the back. Right? And our amazing sponsors, Grow. Right? So what you got? You get anything on your cup? You've got tea, don't you? You don't.
I'm pretty plain today.
Pretty plain today, but I have got another one. I am beautiful inside and out, so I think they just gave me that. Right.
Describes you well, Jamie.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. So cakes, I've actually already tried to have a wee go at my cake, and then realised that when you try to take a bite out it, it goes all over the place and it was all over my face, wasn't it? So we'll go for Stephen's first.
Yeah.
What's yours? Put it up a bit, Stephen. Let's show the camera.
So this looks like a donut with white chocolate and a chocolate brownie on top.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether to eat it or climb it, to be honest. I think
I don't know what would be harder, to be honest with you.
if I eat this, I'll have a couple of plain chicken breasts for my dinner tonight. That's all I'll be able to have.
And mine is that. Remember, I got one the other week there, and it was like it's basically just a big donut with loads of cream inside it. So I got that, and I had like 3 goes at eating it. So I had a wee shot at it in here. I then took it home and had a wee go at it, and then I had it for my supper.
You need to wipe that cream off the bottom.
Don't even say that, man. Don't even say that. I took a big bite and it just all started squeezing out, didn't it? Right, so thank you to Grow again. Thank you to all the lovely staff in Grow, because they always make this a little bit that bit more classy, don't they? And you, obviously, that's the first time you've seen Grow.
That was phenomenal.
Good,
absolutely brilliant outfit. Yeah.
It's for anybody, and anybody that watches this show that's not been to Grow yet, you need to get down there, right? They're sponsoring every weekend. What show are we on, Andrew?
30.
Show 30, right? So if you're still watching this show after 30 and you've never been down, right, you need to get down, and Stephen can back me up on that.
Absolutely. Half of them are sleeping in the corner right enough after eating them.
I know.
The size of the plates you get.
That's what I'm saying. So you don't get many coffee shops that you're sitting in there for an hour and a half. You're sitting in there for that long because you're just trying to get your slip up out your seat. So right, we're not here to just talk about Grow, we're here to talk about you, Stephen. So introduce yourself, tell us about Enmis, what you do, blah blah blah, everything to go with it.
Thanks, Jamie. So Stephen Fitzpatrick, I'm the director at the National Manufacturing Institute Scotland, and I look after the digital factory group there. Got about 65 people within the group. A range of different, engineers and scientists across a lot of different manufacturing disciplines. Kind of digital groups that in there, design, things like additive manufacturing, metrology, non-destructive evaluation, all sit within there. I'm also director of a new UKRI funded centre called the Remake Value Retention Centre, and hopefully we can go on and talk a bit about that and the circular economy as we go. So the National Manufacturing Institute Scotland, hopefully most of you will know about that, but if you don't, we're based centrally up next to the airport at Glasgow Airport. We've got 2 main facilities, one at the south side of the airport, large purple building, and one at the other side, the Advanced Forming Research Centre. So we've been going for 15 years.
Is it?
15 years, yeah. So we grew out of the Advanced Forming Research Centre, so part of University of Strathclyde, and then about 2018-19, the Scottish Government wanted to set up their own National Manufacturing Institute, and given that we'd already had credibility out of the FRC, it kind of grew out of the Advanced Forming Research Centre. So we've now got that building over at the other side of the runway. So yeah, world-class capabilities within there. There's people that will come from all over the world to carry out their manufacturing research there. And I'd say that we work in what's called a mid-technology readiness level. For those people that don't know that technology readiness level 1 to 3 is the lab scale, things that come out of university. Yep. And then you get technology readiness level 8 or 9, which is up in production, and we kind of sit in that mid space of 5, 6 and 7, where we're trying to translate kind of industrial scale R&D to support growth and innovation within the UK predominantly, but across different countries and globally.
Yeah. Obviously I've been to the facility a few times now, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's still amazing when I go in. The building itself is awesome, right? So the shape, the size and the colour, right? It stands out you can see it from miles away, and that's every time I'm coming in to Glasgow Airport now. I'm like to the kids, that's what I was telling you about. That's what I was telling you about. That's so my kids can't wait to get in there to see it because I've told them so much about it. But it's see some of the it's the capabilities of what you've got within your team, what you've got available within the building and the facilities. Now, I think people kind of underestimate that because I mean I've met quite a lot of people that are in the team. And these are some clever people.
No, they are.
Right?
Absolutely.
And the capabilities for them to be able to take somebody's kind of, as you say, it's not just the idea. It's now got to a stage where, right, let's actually go and test it. This is going to work. And being able to do that in that facility or utilising the expertise of those people within the business, I think it can be beneficial to any big tech company that's trying to put something out there. So, yeah, I think the place is awesome. I always have said that.
No, I completely agree. And, it is a unique capability for Scotland. We're still growing, we're still evolving. But certainly the work that we have been doing, as I mentioned, there's been working on there for the last 15 years. You see that new building over the last 2, but there's a lot of teams and technology and innovation that's already went through there. We're working with a lot of small organisations across the manufacturing sector, but also supporting that, the larger OEMs that are here as well. And much more now thinking about how we support that investment in the scale-up ecosystem that's really developing, things like the tech scaler super hubs and other things that are coming online where we can really try to stimulate the economy.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I don't know if I actually told you, so I had the governor of Oklahoma over, right, to see me, and I was telling him about NMIS. So see, the next time he's coming over, I was actually trying to get him in. That time he was over, but his schedule was too tight. But I was telling him all about it because we've been talking to him about potentially taking the business over there. Manufacturing's a big sector they've got, especially like aerospace manufacturing. So I think they've got like Boeing and Airbus and all these kind of manufacturing sites in Oklahoma. I said to him, I went, you need to see what NMIS are doing. I says, and what the guys have got. So hopefully the next time he comes over, because he was impressed by what I spoke to him about and actually sent him a NMIS presentation as well that somebody gave me, and I was like, and he seemed really, really impressed. So you might end up with a wee trip to Oklahoma.
We always welcome new people into the building. We get sometimes it's like Sucky Hall Street, we can't get on their own work right enough, but we always welcome new people in for all different countries, for all different walks of life, because ultimately, you've mentioned it before, right? We need to have the next generation coming through in terms of engineering and manufacturing. If we keep showing, grotty, manufacturing shop floors with, people welding things together, then that's not going to stimulate the younger generation for coming through.
No.
So we want to do that. The facility that we have is an inspirational facility. 100%. And we want to bring as many people we can through there to talk about it positively and try and grow the manufacturing sector here.
No, it's in I actually had a similar example recently, but we're trying to help somebody put in, I'm not going to say who it is, but try to help somebody put a cutting edge kind of condition monitoring and digital product in, right, as a kind of showcase, and they wanted to put it next to Hunter's old lathes. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to give you the right feeling, and it's not that the world still needs all that, but we're moving into a digital era, and what you want to do is you want to bring them in and show them what the digital era and what the future is going to look like, and I think that's what your place does great. And I actually said to the people when I was talking to them, I went, you need to go to NMIS or the DPMC, because what you get when you walk in there, you're thinking future, you're thinking the next generation. You walk into and you see lace and all that kind of stuff, you're thinking it's just the way it's always been done. It's old school, and that will always still happen. But when you're looking at a lathe and then you look at one of the kind of additive manufacturing machines the use have got in there, it's like two completely different eras.
I agree, and even when you take a lathe, for example, right, very few organisations, even small organisations, have manual lathes now. No. Everybody's moved at least onto CNC machines, so there's no need to show people that far back. It's about how we build on what we already have.
But we're still teaching people that.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, we should be teaching people that. They are core skills. If you want to be good and understand manufacturing, regardless of we're moving into the world of AI and digitalisation, you need that foundation. And the people that have that foundation and that knowledge will be the people who furthering their career will do better.
Because they've got an understanding of why.
Exactly.
Then you can then program something to fulfill that one.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Why? So you talk about the talent that we have within NMIS, and I always see it at tension in some ways, because we do have probably about half our people come out of university, PhDs, and then we have another half that have came from more industrial background, and we need that tension and that kind of interface because we are working at a higher technology readiness level.
Yeah.
So I always say I've got why guys and I've got how guys. I've got why guys that come out of university, I've got theoretical knowledge who can add so much more value. And then I've got the how guys that know how to do it, have got the experience. And it's that fusion together is where the magic happens actually 100%. In our environment.
And you kind of hit the nail on the head there, because see, without both of them, I don't think it can work. No. It's similar to the KTP process. That's why I said the KTP process is the best kept secret in the world, because you've got somebody within your business that's got industrial experience or engineering experience or whatever your industry is. You've then got direct access to an academic partner who has got knowledge beyond anything you've probably ever got in your own business. Yeah. You put them together and magic happens, and you end up with a Matthew in a project like our AI system. You're going like that. We could never ever do that ourselves. Yeah. Right? And don't get me wrong, Strath would have struggled to get the output that we've got from it by doing it themselves, because they don't have the real nuts and bolts, real life examples and access to the machines and the data and breaking stuff and all that kind of stuff that we do. So it fits brilliantly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We really need the industrial partners to come to us with the problems so that we can start to develop the innovation and the solutions around it. Aye. Without that, we're developing things for developing its sake, right? Aye. And then it adds very little value. Yep. So no, I completely agree. And we're really fortunate that not only do we have, our own organisation, which is about 300 people, but we're operated out of Strathclyde as well. Yeah. So we have that pool of a lot of those different departments that we work really closely with to innovate, maybe at that lower TRL, but also, we all work together at that kind of higher TRL as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, as I say, that's what when I'm going to give him a shout out, Greg Cranston. So when I first spoke to Greg, in fact, I first spoke to Jen, then she put me on to Greg. When I spoke to Greg and he was telling me about it, and I'm like, this is amazing. How did I not know about it? And then we spoke about KTP, and then that's where our relationship all started from. But obviously, I'd only kind of not long started the business up here, and I didn't know anything about it. And obviously, I come from a electronics background, but it's manufacturing. And see, when I started seeing it, I'm going, wow, this is amazing. And I just wanted to tell everybody about it. This is just brilliant. You need to go and see this place. So I think what's been done there is just outstanding. And it's trying to, when I was telling people, I always said, it's trying to make manufacturing in Scotland more attractive, more resilient, more sustainable. And the outcomes that will come from this, if the right companies come to you, if the right industrial partners come to you with these challenges, can make Scotland somewhere that manufacturing becomes a key part of our GDP. No, absolutely. I completely agree. And, I guess we've maybe been guilty a little bit over the years of being, trying to be everything to everybody in this, just the way the conditions are. And we'll be much more focused now where we can make the maximum impact for the economy, for the environment. And, as you mentioned there, for a resilience point of view, that's becoming really, really important. Aye. Well, that kind of moves us on quite good to the circular economy bit, because obviously circular economies, everything we do is about circular economy. Our whole life is about trying to keep equipment running for longer, less things going to landfill, better efficiency and productivity out of them. But that's a big focus of NMIS now, isn't it, with regards to some of the things that you guys are doing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so I'd kind of set up a remake programme about 9-10 years ago at NMIS, and that's really getting national traction now. And for me, if I take a step back and I look at the circular economy, I know it's something you're involved in heavily, but I still don't feel we're getting the traction nationally that it really should. When we look at, if we talk about getting to net zero, which I've heard you talking about a few times on the show, that tends to be still, if you talk to government or you talk to anybody, their thought process is on energy transition.
Yeah.
Their thought process is on wind turbines, on nuclear, and that's how we get to net zero. The truth is that that'll get us halfway there. The other half of our global emissions come for the things that we make and we use, right? And the only way that we're going to mitigate that other 50% of the emissions globally is by transitioning to a circular economy, right?
100% agree.
Now, if you look at where Scotland is, globally there's about 7% of products in a circular value stream, if you like.
Yep.
We were about 9% 4 or 5 years ago, but it's actually dropped. When you look at where Scotland is, it's about somewhere between 1.7 and 1.3% of their products, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So we're quite low. However, what I would say is that we've got the right conditions to be globally leading in this, right? Genuinely globally leading, I think. We've got a small enough country. We've got people at zero waste. They're all linked in with government, doing a lot on policy. When I think of the work that we're doing in Glasgow just now, in other cities, they're linked in nationally and internationally with the right people in this. You've got National Institute where it's a big focus on this. And then we've got, brilliant businesses like yourselves, like people like ACS, like Renewable Parts Limited and hundreds of others there that are all advocating for this. So the right conditions are there. We need to get behind it. We need to talk more about what you're doing. The policy needs to come alongside it, and we need to innovate. So I think we can be globally leading in this. You always talk about to lead the world, right?
100%.
I think this is something that we should be global. There's no reason why we can't. The Dutch, the people in Holland, and you look at Amsterdam as a city, and maybe Rotterdam, they are leading this globally, and they've got about 26% of their economy is now circular, right? And it's not just about thinking about it's not thinking about the emissions, right? We can't keep beating that drum. It's about the economic opportunity, which you're demonstrating. Guys at ACS and others in renewable, we're all demonstrating it. But it's the investment opportunity that comes alongside it as well, right? Everything after you sell a product is about uncertainty, right? What you do is trying to reduce the uncertainty for your customer. When you go and you get a part back or something back from that's been in service, whether it be a phone, a plastic bottle, a pump, a compressor, whatever it may be, it's all around uncertainty. What do you do with that? And then that's an opportunity for tech businesses to come in to look at decision making modelling and how we and the climate tech investment, I feel is still all about renewable energy. So there's a huge opportunity, I think, for Scotland to go after this. And then it transcends into not just the industrial base, but right into the communities, your city centres, how you create reuse, repair economies in there, how you look at biodiversity within your city centres. It's something that we really need to get behind more.
And I think, so obviously I see it mainly from an industrial point of view, but you're getting a lot of people out there that are talking about it. But it's not that many that are actually doing much about it. And that's a big frustration for us, because we can see the benefits, we can prove the benefits. Having a circular economy helps in so many ways. And back to what I say quite a lot is, see the environmental benefit is the icing on the cake, right? That's the cherry, right? See the rest of the benefits to get there are phenomenal. Oh, back to and I can only really talk about what we do. We've got a pump, right? You see the pump. You're taking data off that pump, and that pump you are changing out every 4 years. One was gone in the skip, another one was getting put in. Our actual apprentices, so we did a Power and Future Challenge. I don't know, you didn't, I don't think they spoke to you, but they spoke to people in Ennis as part of that. So two apprentices and a graduate apprentice, and what they went and looked at was, what is the carbon footprint, or the carbon consumption, whatever you want to call it, effect on not having a circular approach, and the benefit you could get from having a circular economy approach. So they went and they actually did it on pumps. They did it on pumps for a couple of customers. And the carbon footprint, ignoring the cost, the carbon footprint to get a pump from Flowserve in Spain, guess what the carbon footprint was at?
What's that?
Half a ton. Half a ton of carbon for one pump, right? And one of the companies we're talking to, they're changing out 40 pumps a year, right? Because their attitude was, we'll just run it till it fails. Well, right, so how much does that then cost you? So you've got the carbon bit, but then you're going, how much does that cost you? So you've got the replacement costs.
Yeah.
Okay, see when it breaks down, how much does the downtime cost you? So see when you start to take all that back and you go, that could have been solved. You're capturing the data, and the other thing is circle on. You can only date if you've got data, right?
And
but
hopefully we'll go on to talk a wee bit about it.
I'm leading us in. But
this is dangerous talking about this subject. I could be here. I could be here at dinner time.
I know. Me, I know. That's the problem. And we did this, so just for everybody knows, we had a wee kind of thing, what we're going to talk about, and then we had a 45-minute conversation about what we were going to talk about. Right?
Dan Young.
Dan Young, so my pal Daniel's watching it for Australia in the Gold Coast.
Good day, mate.
Good day.
Good day night. I don't know what it is.
Dan, what time is it over there? Message in and see what time it is. Good friend of mine, and actually was talking to his like, I see you had Australian guys on last week. I says, I says, no be long to we're coming earlier, Dan. Just you get the Barbie on, I'll be there shortly. But the back to the data thing. So the data, we're saying just by a small investment and being able to get a regular data stream on that, we catch that coming. Say you're changing parts, so say you're changing a bearing, cost you 400 quid, right? Then you've got a bit of labour to do it. But rather than that getting changed every 3 or 4 years, that's lasting 10, 15, 20 years. Yeah, exactly. Right? And you're keeping the same bit of kit running. If you look at that period and the return on investment on that, it pays for itself in absolutely no time.
Yeah.
But it's still that change in mindset is the thing that I think some people are just not there with yet.
Yeah.
And that's where I was kind of going to ask is, how do we solve that? Because for me,